Okay,
All
let us
right.
start. I will keep adding people because people are still adding. So
Okay.
I will start what I have prepared, and by all means, this is overwhelming, like this whole thing. So I really apologize if I miss anything in advance, but I will try my best. So let me go to the slideshow. So what I'm going to talk about, what are the effective teaching strategies, that Blackboard provides, so that we can make is as equivalent as in person. Although it cannot be equivalent, but we can try. So the agenda for today's meeting, I'm going to talk about the communication strategies, the various communication tools that we have within Blackboard that we can use. We have various tools available for student engagement. Just like in-person class, we can have tools within Blackboard that we can use. We have virtual class environment, um, and also we have assessment tools. We also have tools that ensures academic integrity. We can also provide feedback to our students in the papers, and in the quizzes, just like we can do when the students submit that in person on paper. We can do the same within the Blackboard. We can also monitor the progress of the student. So we have a great, grade book there. So that is can also be done. We can also make sure that we are able to track student retention, and there are so many tools available to make sure our students are being supported whenever they need any help. So I'm going to talk about all these points. I know this is a lot, but I will try to summarize the most important point. But at any time you have any question, just let me know. So going to the next slide, what are the communication tools we have in the Blackboard that we can use? So like in person class, we communicate with the student face to face, but in Blackboard, we also have tools. For example, the first tool is announcements. So announcement you can easily make in the Blackboard. That announcement can also be sent via email. I will show you a screenshot how to make that announcement. But let me tell you the importance of announcement. So the difference between announcement and email is that when you make an announcement in the Blackboard, what happens is that it stays there permanently. It is not going to go anywhere. Student will be able to see that announcement at any time. For example, I provide textbook information, best practices for online class, any any other important information that you would like to share. So those announcements can be there in the course permanently. You don't have to remove it. Student can have that access until they finish the course. So that is a permanent thing. The thing with the email is that you send the email. First of all, it is possible that student might miss the email, but they cannot miss the announcement, because they are going to when they log in and go to that course in the Blackboard, they will see that announcement. So email and announcement, there is a difference, but again, whatever you announce, you can also send through email.
So can I ask
And
a question?
yes,
So is the email sent instantaneously as soon as the announcement is posted?
yes, if you check that option, if you check the option, it will be sent immediately. But you also can schedule when you want to make the announcement. So for example, you don't want to announce right away, you want to make announcement for tomorrow morning, so you can also schedule an announcement. And you can if you want to send that announcement immediately, you can also do so. So let me add a few more people. So now the email, you can send email to everybody in the class, all the students, or you can also send email to individual student or few students together. So you can do all that combination. Then another way of communicating with the student is through video, audio, and also chat. So there was a webinar, excellent webinar that CTL provided for Blackboard Collaborate. So in that, we have audio, video, and chat options. So you can have virtual office hours. So one of the way of helping student is having the office hours, but now we are going online. So the in-person office hour is not possible. So what we can do is we can have the dedicated office hours within Blackboard Collaborate. and let the student know that you will be available in there, and they can just join and have audio chat with
I
you
don't see
or
your
video
name up
chat with
there.
you or just simple chat with you. So all those options are there. So
Yeah,
all
no,
these
I know.
communication
I
tools
think I
are
only
made
see the
available.
people that are doing the video.
All these options are available within the Blackboard that you can use for your effective communication with the student, which is very important.
Mm.
Which is very important from the instructor point of view. So as I said, this is the screenshot. Let me see if I make it bigger. So this
I
is
shut my video
actually
off.
uh, this is actually I'm sorry, somebody has any problem?
It sounds like someone's having a problem. Can we ask folks to mute their microphone and ask questions, or if you have a problem, to type it into the chat? And you can access the chat on the bottom of your screen. This is Priscilla, although my name on the screen says Renee Singh. That's actually not my name. Hi, everybody. But, sorry. Fire trucks going by on Rosen Boulevard. I'll be assisting you two today, and I'll be looking on the chat for your questions and concerns. But if you mute your mic, that would be great, because sometimes you might be hearing fire engines.
Yeah.
That won't benefit everybody. But we will address your concerns. So just type them into the chat. Can everybody see where the chat is?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let me continue. So I wanted to show you how you can make announcements in the Blackboard. So you see the screenshot. I'm sorry if it is too small, but I will read it for you. So this course is created by CTL that says LaGuardia CTL Training 1. So in your course, it will be your course name and the code, So just look for that course and go to that course in which you want to make that announcement. Once you are there, then you will see there is an announcement tab. If you don't see the announcement tab there, don't worry about it. You can go to this black area, that is organizational management. In your situation, it will be course management. The reason why it says organization management is because it is created by CTL for the college. So in your situation, it will be the course management. And as you can see here, you see organizational tools. In your situation, it will be course tools. So just keep that in mind. For organization, it will be course. So if you don't see announcement in this green area, as I can see in my screenshot, don't worry about it. Just go to the organizational tools, click on this. You will be having course tools, click on that, and it will have like a big list. And it is arranged alphabetically. So just look for the announcement and click on that. And that way you will be getting this page. So once you get this page, as you can see, it says create announcement. So just click on that. Once you click on that, just type whatever you want to communicate with your students. So you can type the message and you can immediately make that announcement, or you can schedule that announcement. For example, I make an announcement every Monday, but I schedule that on Sunday. So there are two options. You can send right away, or you can schedule that at a later date. So both options are available. So that is announcement. That is how it looks like. If after I end my presentation, I can, if you want, I can show you, in my course how I make the announcement step by step. Also, just let me know. Now, sending emails. So again, this organizational tool that I see here in your situation will be course tools. If you go down all the way, you keep going, scrolling down, you will see send email. It will be alphabetic order. So you go to S, which is send email. So once you click on send email, that is what you will see. So as you can see, because this is organization course, but in your situation, you will be able to see all student users or single student users. So you can send email to all the students at the same time, like a mass email, or like which is also called as email blast. Or you can also send email to individual students. So both options are available. So that is another thing that you can do if you want to communicate with your student through email. Now, as I discussed with you, you can also have virtual office hours to communicate with your students. And also you can schedule appointment with your students through Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, and you can have audio, video, and chat sessions with them. And that way you can help them. You can share the screen, you can talk to them, you can chat with them. So whatever they prefer, those options are available through that. So all these are the communication tools which are very important for effective teaching. So the same thing that you can do in your in-person class, you could also do to a great extent with the help of Blackboard. Now, the second effective element of teaching is student engagement. We want to keep the student engaged. Otherwise, they lose interest, and they are not, on the track. So to keep them on the track and to keep them engaged, so what you can do in the Blackboard is you can create discussion boards. So for example, I have been teaching online for almost 10 years. And one thing I have learned, not only by teaching my courses, but also I have done a lot of trainings. One thing they really give a lot of importance is on discussion board. So discussion board is a platform where the student interact not only with you, the instructor, but they can also interact with the other students. So that way they have both way interaction. So discussion board are very important. I'm going to show you how you can create a discussion board. Then within discussion board, peer interaction is also another element. Also, there are other ways of also doing peer interaction other than discussion board. You can also do the group work. So because I know many professors love group work in their classes, and now they must be worried that how I do the group work when I have this in online. So you can absolutely do the group work as well. I apologize. Let me go to the previous slide. Now, other than the group work, you can also have blogs, journals, wikis. I don't use them that often. I have done like once in a while, but absolutely, if that is, something you like, or you want to explore, or something that is important for your course and goes well with your course, please feel free to use. All of those tools are really good. But I suggest not to use everything because it can be overwhelming for you as well as for the students. Just pick the one that you think is best for your course and according to your teaching methodology. So you can use like couple of them, or according to your preference. So let me show you how you can start a discussion board. So as you can see in this area, green area, there is a discussion board here. If you don't see that, don't worry. Again, go to this organizational tools. In your situation, it will be course tools. Just click on that, and then keep going down until you get to discussion board. So once you click on this, you will get like a big list. So alphabetic order. So you go to discussion board, click on that, and that is how it will show you discussion board. So you create the discussion forum, and just name, let's say week 1 discussion or chapter 1 discussion, and you can type some questions there that the student can ask from you. The way I create discussion board, I'm trying a lot of things. I'm also still learning. Learning never ends. So I actually assign them some videos, or some chapters, or some like articles, and let them read it or watch the video. And based on that, I ask them some questions. So I let them answer the questions, and also require them to reply to at least 2 students. So that way they are not only just communicating with me, but they are also communicating with other students. Communicating with other students through discussion board is very important, because sometimes students can help each other out, because there are so many students that are there in that course, and they are able to provide excellent ideas, suggestions to each other. So which is very helpful. I always find it very helpful.
Can we ask questions as you go along? I know
Yeah.
mine should be muted, but this is the only way I think that I can.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so my first question goes back to announcements, and that is the email that the students receive is only through their My LaGuardia email. I mean, is there a way to, if we know their private email and if they give us permission to use it, is there a way to email them to their private email?
So from my understanding, because I joined LaGuardia in 2017, at that point, I think many students were using their private email. in the Blackboard, but now they are changing that. They are requiring student to use only LaGuardia email. So, and still there are a lot of students who are still using their personal email. So it is up to the Blackboard if they would like to allow that, but I doubt it because what I'm learning from time.
Can I interject for one
Yes,
moment?
please. Yes, please.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I mentioned on the chat, Sue, to your question that students are able to change their emails to add their LaGuardia emails. What Neetu mentioned, it's correct. It is likely that a student may have a Gmail or a Hotmail or a Yahoo email address affiliated with their Blackboard account. However, it is possible and recommended. I actually ask my students to make sure that they are checking their LaGuardia email. And there's a tutorial that I'm trying to look online to share on the chat room so that they are able to update their email address on Blackboard to include their LaGuardia email. So,
Thank you.
that's what I know. Yes. And I'm as soon as I hear that, as soon as I find that tutorial, I will share it. If you go into your course and you go, I think it's on users, under user and groups, you will be able to see a roster of your class and you will be able to see the email address that each of them has affiliated with their account. So when I went to my class, I saw so many different emails from Hotmail to Gmail to LaGuardia. So I decided to send them an email through CUNY first, and I sent them a tutorial on how to update their emails on Blackboard because it's important because they will need it for other reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have a question about discussion board. If I could ask or hold on to it until the end of the session.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So the question is, when you set up a discussion board, I have used this discussion board feature in past on Blackboard, and I am still trying to figure out how to moderate the discussions between the groups of students. Because do you go through every single message that they are sending along to their colleagues or peers, or how do you moderate that discussion?
Yes, I do. I know your concern, and I totally understand, especially when that is a large class, you know.
Yes.
That's why our online classes has a restriction of 22 students, because if you have any more than that, you know, it can quickly become overwhelming for the instructor.
Right.
And yeah, so what I do is because you know, this is unusual situation. So I will also give advice for this unusual situation. But if you were to teach just online, you know, regular online, like 22 students, in that situation, I do look at each and every posting, because all my discussion board is a part of the grade. So so yes, so when I'm grading their post, then I do read all their comments, including their reply to the other students. I do, because that is a part of their grade. But you don't have to do that. You can just make it like a present and absent. That is absolutely fine. Because in this unusual situation, because you know, the regular class has like 38 or you know, 38 to 40 students. So in that situation, you know, to keep it less overwhelming, you can just make it like present and absent. You know, if somebody participated in the discussion board, you can just, you know, give them like you know, like 5 points for the attendance, something like that. Whatever you would like to do. It is up to you. Because I think it is already so much overwhelming. So my suggestion is just make it like present and absent, you know, like an attendance. But if you do want to read all of them and make it a part of your grade, then you can also do that. So for example, I had 2 classes that were regular and 1 class I was teaching online for this semester. So I'm going to have kind of some discussion board, but I'm going to do present and absent for those classes. But the classes that I was teaching online right from the beginning, for those classes, I will make it a graded a discussion board.
Right. And thank you for your response. I also want to ask you, like, you know, has there been any protocols that you have set up for them, for students, to respond to each other questions or discussion threads?
Yes. So so what I do, the way I set up my discussion board is nobody is able to see other people post before they make their own posting. The reason I do that, because, you know, otherwise the person who posted first, they are at disadvantage, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is my thinking, but other people can disagree with me, and which is perfectly understandable. So that is how I set up my discussion board. So once they actually reply to their initial posting, then they will be able to see other people posting. So
I
what
see.
I do is, so I ask them to reply to 2 students, and I also require that you need to reply to like something different that you posted. So for example, if they provided an example, real world example, then I require them to reply to another student whose example is different, so that way they are not only learning, themselves, but they are also learning from each other.
Yeah.
And also you can also ask the student to ask follow-up questions from each other. That is another way of doing it. If the student is now this is like really a challenge that many online instructor face when it comes to replying to each other. Some students don't take it seriously, or they are not that much interested or put in efforts. So I require them to at least write at least 100 words, so that kind of actually kind of forces them to write something. Otherwise, if you don't make that requirement, then they will say great post, good job, that
Yeah.
is not going to help. I want some quality there. But because this is unusual situation, so going forward, if you do want to teach more online classes, that is what I would recommend. But for this situation, you can keep it as simple as possible. Maybe make it like 20 words, something like that.
Yeah.
So that is my suggestion for that.
Can
Yeah.
can I
Thank
ask
you.
a question?
Yes.
How do you set it up so no one sees a classmate's post until they post their own?
Okay, let me see. I actually can go to one of the course. So I'm going to go to this, as you can see in here. Can everybody see this page?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the announcement. So it's already in there. So I will create an announcement. So I'm going to do right now. So this is the announcement week 2. So I'm going to do what is today's date. So I made that announcement and they will reply. So you can make it date restricted. You don't have to make date restricted. I'm sorry, I'm showing you announcement, right? Yeah, so let us do this announcement also. If you do date restricted, then these are the options that you will see. If you want to send the email, you can also
Neetu, I think you are sharing your PowerPoint slide right now.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So if you could just
not
hit
the
on
live
the share
stream.
button at the bottom,
Okay.
and when you hit share, it will give you the different options as windows that you have. Just
Okay,
share,
yeah,
just
I
choose
got
your
it.
browser, and
Yes,
we will switch.
I
Yes.
apologize. Yeah.
No, that's totally fine. Thank you. So just
Ah, nice.
Now you can see? Okay. Now you can see?
now we can see it. Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I'm also learning as we speak.
That's fine. We're all
Okay.
here together
Yes.
learning.
So let's do the discussion board. So I'm going to the discussion board. As you can see, this discussion board was right here, but don't worry if you don't see it. Anything you don't see it in this green area, don't worry about it. Just go to this organizational tools. In your situation, it will be course tools. Click on that. Now you see this big list. This is the the jack box, I say. It has everything in there.
Okay.
So you click on the discussion board right here. You see that? So that is a discussion board. So what I'm going to do is I can create a discussion board. So let me go here and then create a forum. So now let's say week 1, or this is week 2, let's say. So what is today's date? So this is what I have written. My student will be responding to this. So do I want to make this available right now? I would, because that is what my objective is, right? So then I can display when I would like the student to be able to see it. So for example, I want to see, I want them to be able to see right now. You can make it available immediately, or you can schedule it. And then you can display so that there is no late submission. If you do want to allow it, you can keep it open. Then you can also, yes. So Mangla, you asked me, right?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me about how to make sure that students are unable to see other people posting before they make their own. So for
Right.
that, you want to click on this option.
Okay.
Yes.
Very easy. Very easy.
Yeah. So that is all you need to do.
Mhm.
And if you want to make it a graded discussion, then you make it, select this grade discussion forum. So let's say this is 100 points. Then a student will be able to see whether, you know, their work is needed to be graded. So that is also you can do. Now due date also, so you can select a due date, and then you can allow subscription. These are not that important, but you can check it out if you would like. If you would like student to attach files, you can do that as well. And all these additional options you can explore. So that is how you do it, and hit submit. That's it. Does that make sense?
Yes, very
Okay.
easy.
Yes, very easy. And if you have additional question, just feel free to email me. I will be able to do individual Zoom also if you would like. So yes, so going back to my PowerPoint. So where is my PowerPoint? I think that's my PowerPoint.
I think similar to what you did before, Neetu. So if you click on the share button at the bottom
Yeah.
and then again choose PowerPoint so that we can now see your PowerPoint.
Can you see my PowerPoint now?
Yes, we
Yes.
can now. Yes.
Okay, great. So I was talking about the student engagement. So we discussed about discussion board. So it is super simple, as I just showed you. Then you can also start the group work. I haven't done that much in my classes, but if you would like to explore, let me know. I can explain you more. You can also have like blog projects, you know, that is also something interesting, which I don't do that much in my online class, but if you would like, you can do it. There is a journal option, wiki option. So all these tools are there to engage the students, you know, depending upon the need for your course and what you would like to explore, because, you know, every instructor that they have their own way of teaching. So you can use all these different tools to engage the students. So nothing can be as compared to face-to-face, but just to let you know, Blackboard does provide you a lot of tools that you can use to keep the student engaged in the class. So that's,
Neetu, there's a
yes.
question in the chat about file size limit
Uh-huh.
for if students are uploading files that may be of a large size. Do you happen to know?
Like the assignments, etc., that I have given, my assignment are no longer than, you know, 5 or 6 pages. So I never had any problem student uploading that much. But
Yeah.
yes.
My question is, as a drawing instructor, I give demos and then I might want to post that. And then I also expect them to post something in return. So I'm asking them to take a photograph possibly with their smartphone or their iPad, or they can scan it. However, when those files come in to my email or anybody's email, typically they're like 5 megabytes. They could be 10 megabytes. They could be 20. So most servers dump something out that's above 10 megabytes. So I'm just curious, what's the capacity? What's the limit?
Okay, so for that, maybe Pablo will be able to answer, because I never had problems, accepting any assignments in the Blackboard. But definitely, maybe, you know, the IT people will be able to answer that question, because I don't have answer for that. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't teach a course that that uses a heavy traffic of files. However, I can say that what I have heard from IT is that because of this difficult circumstance, Blackboard overall has increased the storage capacity for CUNY by 300%, which will obviously entail the upload of files, the upload of course itself. So I think that will address your specific question. I'm not sure if there's still a restriction as to a file limit within one feature itself, like a discussion board, but I certainly can follow up. But overall, I can say IT has indicated that Blackboard has increased storage capacity CUNY-wide by 300%, which is why we are doing all of this work on Blackboard. To my understanding, I responded positively. Thank you.
Russell, also, another thought on this. I have a couple other thoughts, and one of them I'll contact you later to follow up. But we also have access to Dropbox.
Okay.
Yes.
Free Dropbox accounts, which are quite large. So it might make sense in your case to have your students put their files into your Dropbox.
Okay. Thank
Great.
you.
Before
Okay,
we
thank you for the answers.
before we leave discussion board, can I ask one more question?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so tell me if I'm doing this correctly. I created a forum, which is a general topic that we're going to discuss for a particular time. And then I also created 3 or 4 threads underneath the forum. I want my students to respond to the threads. Is that correct? Will they be able to reply to the thread and then see their classmates' replies that way? Am I doing it correctly?
So yeah, you are, yes. So what you do is you create a discussion forum, and then you will be requiring the student to start a new thread when they reply. So when you select that option, then each student, when they will be replying, then it will be starting a new thread. So yes, that can absolutely be done.
But what you just said is not what I actually did. Should the students be creating the threads, or can they respond to my already created threads?
So what you will be creating is the discussion forum. You are not creating a thread. You are going to create a discussion forum because you are the instructor. So if you want, the student can just reply to that, or they can make a new thread within that discussion board to reply to your questions.
Okay.
Yes, because that only that way you will be able to make sure that students are unable to see other people posting before they make their own posting. So from the instructor point of view, when they create a discussion board, that they call it as discussion board. Thread is something student will be starting a new thread when they reply. So that all those thread are going to be within that discussion forum that you created as an instructor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the next, next topic I'm going to discuss is virtual class environment that Blackboard provides, because that is important for effective teaching as well. So I discussed that briefly with you. Blackboard Collaborate. So in the Blackboard Collaborate, you can also refer to the webinar that is already posted by Pablo and team. Such a good job you did. I was watching that video. It is a great video. So in that, Blackboard Collaborate tool that is there in the Blackboard, you have audio and video option. You can have chat options. You can have screen sharing, just like the way I'm sharing with you. The students can share file with you. You can share the files with them. There is also a whiteboard where you can write. So let me show you how it works. So for example, I'm using, I'm trying to write something, so you can see this pen, right? So I can use a pen and write my name, so that is also provided by, because this is Zoom, right? So you will also have this kind of feature in Blackboard Collaborate. So you can also write something, or if you want to show something, students, look at this one, look at this one, something like that. So if you want to mark something, you can do so. So that is another thing you can do in the whiteboard. Those options are there. So let me go to the next slide now. So Blackboard Collaborate looks like this. So if you want to know where is the Blackboard Collaborate, so again, go to this organizational tool. In your situation, it will be course tools. Keep going, you will see in the alphabetic order, go to the Blackboard B. So here you will see Blackboard Collaborate. So you need to create a new session, and then you can set up. So I'm going to show you some settings. So that is how it will look like when you click on create session. So you will name the session, you will, put all the required information, such as when you want to start it, when you want to end it. So you can schedule that in advance. And then, as you can see, you will be able to share the blank whiteboard. You can also share application and your screen, and you should also be able to share the files with your students. And these options, as you can see right here, if you want to show, your video, then you have to click on this. If you want to people to listen to you, then make sure this is on. And this is when somebody, you want to ask a question, they can raise their hand. So when you are doing this with the student, you might want to do this so that not everybody, start talking. Sometime it can happen. So you might want to choose this option just to make sure that, you are less interrupted when you're teaching an online class. So that is something you can do. Now, as you can see, the participant, which will be your student, you can also allow them to share their audio, video, and post chat messages, and to be able to draw on the whiteboard. So for example, you are having a virtual class, right? And you want a student, to reply or to solve a question. So student can also use their, whiteboard. They can also write there using their, virtual pen, and they can write just the way I was writing. So those options, I would allow it, that make it more two-way communication. So
Can they type their answers without having to write them?
yes, so in the chat they can do that, or they can they can just talk, or they can write their answers in the chat. Absolutely.
But not, they can't write on the screen.
They can so they can use the pen, as I showed you before.
No, I
and
mean
they can
type,
write.
type on the screen. They can't type on the screen.
Type, I doubt it, because as you can see in this, it is showing me pen arrow hidden. So I doubt it, because the typing option is only in the chat, I guess. But maybe if Pablo can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think chat is the only way if they want to type something. But I think chat can be seen by anybody, right?
From my understanding, that is correct. In the chat room, you can choose to either connect with everyone or with specific people.
Yes. So, they cannot write on the screen, but they can absolutely write in the chat, and all other students will be able to see what that student has written. So that might be an option. I know it might not be ideal, but, there is something in there to, yeah, to some
Neetu,
extent.
I
Yes.
have I have a question about where can you show us, like, how to use this whiteboard in Blackboard, like, and you showed there is a pen that, can you do it there, so, and share that screen with us so that I can see how I can show my students how to write the formula, for example, or something that we need to write in math.
So I think you are talking about Blackboard Collaborate, right?
Right, yes.
Okay. So I would suggest, there was an exclusive session that was recorded yesterday. And I'm assuming, I didn't watch the whole video, but I think they must have discussed about the whiteboard in there.
I see.
Maybe Pablo can answer that.
I'm not sure that we did, but I feel like we should maybe do a special, either session on it or link to whiteboard resources.
Yeah, Mangla, right, because that will be very helpful for math instructors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
yes.
when we go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mangala. Yeah, I think it's a necessary tool, especially for the math professors. And but I'm going to suggest that we actually keep going and let Neetu share some of the other features of Blackboard that she wanted to share with us today. And then we will look into how we can get more information about the whiteboard to you.
Sure, thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. So the next effective teaching strategy is to how to assess students so that we know how they are doing, and to provide them valuable feedback based on the assessment, So in the Blackboard, you can give the quizzes like you give quizzes in the class on paper. You can give the same type of quizzes within the Blackboard. You can give them the test, just like you give the test in the class. You can give the same kind of test on the Blackboard. And then you can also give them written assignments. So the student can type their answers in a Word file, and then they can attach in the Blackboard, so you can grade it right there. But if there is too much, typing of the formula is very difficult, you can also ask the student to write on like a regular paper and scan it and attach in the Blackboard, or they can also take pictures. Many of my students, because I teach economics, so we also have some math. So my student write the formulas and do the math on like regular paper, and then they just take a screenshot of the page and then submit that in the Blackboard. So all those things can be done. Yeah. So now the good thing is that you don't have to learn all of them separately. So quizzes and tests, these two are has the same process. And assignment and papers, they have the same process. So you will be learning only 2 things, but will be able to do 4 things. So let me go to the quizzes and tests. So if you want to create quizzes or tests, all you need to do is go to this organization tools. Again, in your situation, it will be course tools. So go down until you go to test, surveys, and pools. Okay, so it will be, it is not quizzes and tests necessarily, it is test, survey, and pool. If you want to make a note somewhere, you can. Test, survey, and pool. That is very important. So you click on that. Once you click on that, then you are going to get this page. As you can see, now you have three options. You can create a test, you can create a survey, you can create a pool. So the difference between the test and pool is that in pool, you can have more questions than what you would like to give. And I highly recommend doing that for your exams, because so that every student get like a randomized question. So for example, if you are giving a test, and you want to give them like 30 questions, so you can have like 50 questions in your bank, in your pool, and then you can pull like, you can let the Blackboard pull like 30 questions out of it. So that student, will not be able to have the same order, because otherwise it can, have a cheating element. So to, ensure that they are not cheating, that is very important. Because unfortunately, in CUNY, I mean, in our college, we don't have online proctoring. I'm going to talk about that later, but this is not the time to talk about it. But just to let you know, that is in online classes, online proctoring is the way we ensure that students, are not cheating. But as of now, all you can do is using some of those methods that can help you to protect, to stop cheating in the Blackboard. So you can create the pool, and then you can just create the test. So to create the test, just click on the test. As I showed you in the previous, screenshot, just click on this. Once you click on this, then you're going to get to this page. As you can see, this is the test. You can start making a new test by clicking on build test. Or if you already have like a test, but so just make sure that this only accepts certain files. So for example, if you have a Word file, this won't work. Or in certain situation it might, but not necessarily. So you have to be very careful. If you are learning this for the first time, my suggestion is to use this build test, because that will be simple and will avoid any potential complications. So once you click on the build test, that is how it will look like. You can write the name. For example, if your test is like an exam, so you can write exam 1, and you can write the description. This exam is based on chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, whatever you would like to tell. Don't submit yet. If you keep scrolling down from here, because this is a screenshot, so I cannot go down. But if you keep scrolling down, then you will get this page. So now you'll see that in the exam or the test, you can give any kind of question. You can see that you can give them formula-based questions. You can give them numeric questions, either or, essay, multiple choice, short answer type of question. There are so many options, as you can see. So all these options are available. So you can, use any type of, question that you would like. So after you make one question, then you have to add another question, 3 question, 4 question. You have to do for each question. The good news is that if you're teaching the same course, like 2-3 sections, then you can copy. Once you have created tests for in one course, you can just copy in the other course. So you don't have to do it again. So that is a good news. But you have to create like, maybe if you want to give 20 questions, you create 20 questions. It can be a combination. Some question can be multiple choice, some question can be short answers. You can also have that combination. So again, keep scrolling down. After that, you will also have to deploy test. So whenever you create test, quizzes, and exam, all of them are the same process. So there are 2 steps. Step 1 is to create them. Once you are done creating the test, adding the questions and everything, then you have to deploy it. Unless and until you deploy it, student will not be able to have access to that test. So the way to deploy the test is to go to the content area. Okay, so if you don't see this content area, don't worry about it. You see this little plus sign here, you click on that, and there is a tool link. If you click on that, there will be information, there will be modules, and there will be a content. Anything, you can just click on it. So that will give you, this kind of, page. It can be content, it can be module, it can be information. You can use any. That is not any, that all those things are going to give you the same thing. So as you can see, I'm in this content, and I clicked on the content, and this 4 things shows up. So now my objective is to deploy the test that I created. So I'm going to go to the assessment, and then I'm going to click on the test. Once I click on the test, then I will be able to get to this page. As you can see, this test 1 that I created, before this is showing up. If you don't create the test, it will not show up. So you have to complete step 1 before deploying the test. So this test 1 we already created. So I'm going to click on that, and then I will be hitting submit. Once you hit submit, it will ask you some other settings, and don't submit yet, because you also want to have other options when you want to make it available for the students. So if you want to make it available right away, you can make available. So I will definitely select this, because otherwise student won't be able to see it. So make sure you say yes. You can also create an announcement. Then you can also give multiple choice. For example, if it's a homework quiz and you want to give them multiple attempts, so you can give unlimited attempts. You can also give them like 2 attempts or 3 attempts. So if you want to give like 2 attempts, like I give 2 attempts for the homework. So I click on this and then I write 2. So that's something, you can do. And out of 2 attempts, which grade I would like to consider for their overall grade. So I usually do highest grade out of the 2 attempts, but you can also do the last graded attempt. So those options are there, you can explore. And then if this is an exam, you want to make sure that they complete in 1 sitting. Otherwise that could lead to potential cheating. So you can force complete them. What this means is that when the students start the test, they have to complete it in 1 sitting. And you can also set the timer, like the same way you give the exam in the class. So you give them like an hour or 2 hours, whatever. So you set the timer if you want to give 1 hour, because it is in minutes. So you write 60. If you want to give 2 hours, 120. And this auto submit option also you would like to select if you are giving an exam. In the homework, it is you don't have to worry about it, but in the exam you want to click on. So if you click on, once the student lapse their time, then it will automatically submit. They will not be getting any additional time than that. But keep in mind, if there is a student who need accommodation, you can also give extra time to that particular student. If you have that situation, just contact me by emailing me separately, then I will be able to answer that. Now you definitely want to prepare the exam beforehand. So once you prepare, then you can, for example, I prepare my exam like 2 days at least before the students are going to take it, so that I make sure everything is in order. So for example, if I want to give the exam 2 days after today, so I will select this and click on this calendar and select the date on which I want to give the exam. So these settings, you can use it. You can also have a password. I will avoid it right now because it is already too overwhelming, but if you would like, you can do it. And then you can also have the due date, and you can also include that in your grade center, so that it is a part of your grade. Now there is another thing you can do, is what you want the student to see after they submit their exam or their quiz, or their quizzes, test or exam. So in the exam, I let them see the answers only after everybody is done. So that will be after the availability date. So as you can see right now, after submission, the students are able to see only what they scored per question. In the exam, you might want to untick this also. Why? Because student can share what they got wrong or what they got right from their peers. So you don't want to show them in the exam. In the homework, I don't care, but in the exam, you don't want to check this also. You just click on it, it will remove the check. Now this another thing that you see here, choose. If you click on this drop down, you will see after availability date. So after availability date, you can let the student see all the answers, correct answers and submitted answers, feedback, incorrect question. I let them see everything after the due date. But if you don't want to share that, you don't have to. Now you can randomize the question so that students don't get in the same order. This will avoid potential cheating to some extent. And then you hit the submit. I know it's a long process. If it is too overwhelming, this video will be recorded, and then you can just watch that recording again and pause it and just practice according to the steps.
Also, Neetu, just to follow up on that, tomorrow you're offering a session on academic integrity for distance learning, and I'm guessing that you might be covering some of this in even further detail.
That's correct.
It's at 4 o'clock tomorrow, and it will be a webinar. We'll be sending out that notification today.
That is correct. Thank you, Priscilla.
Thanks, Neetu.
Yeah. So now going to the next slide. So we are done with the quizzes and the tests. So let me go what we were discussing about assessment. So in assessment, we had quizzes, tests, assignments, and papers. So far we have covered quizzes and tests, right? So that is a very long process, two-step process. Step one, creating the test or quizzes. Step two, deploying it. Now, good news is that assignment and paper are very simple. So I'm going to go to the assignments and paper now. So in the assignments, all you need to do is, again, go to the content. If you don't see the content, as I said, go to this plus sign and you will be able to see content or module. You can select either, and then you will be able to see this. Now go to the assessment to create an assignment, written assignment, and click on that. So the difference between this is that in assignment, if you make an assignment, student can attach a Word file or PDF file. Like for example, you gave them like 4 or 5 questions. It can also be math questions, and the student are going to look at that assignment, and then they start typing in the Word, and then they can attach that as a submission. Now, so you click on this assignment, and then that is how the page will look like. You can write the assignment right here, like question 1, question 2, question 3. Or if you don't want to do it, you can create the assignment in a Word file on your computer and then attach the file right here. And then you just write, dear student, please see the attached file for the assignment. So that is what I do. I create my assignment in a Word file and then attach here, and then just write one line. Dear student, please refer to the attached file for the assignment. So student will get that attachment, and they will be able to see the assignment. And then they also type their answers in a Word file, and then they can save that as a file on their computer, and then they submit that on the Blackboard.
Question?
Yes.
They save it on their computer. They will have to send it to us, upload it. We can then download it.
Yes, absolutely.
Type corrections, send it back to them.
Yes, I'm going to show you a screenshot for that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is how you create the assignment. Now, another thing I would like to tell you is that you can also check for plagiarism in the assignment. So first of all, you can dedicate the number of points. For example, if your assignment is worth 100 points, you can write 100. Or if it is 20 points, you can write 20, whatever you would like to assign. Then you can also create a rubric. This is especially important for written assignment, very helpful. You can create a rubric. If you click on this, it will walk you through the process. And then it can be individual submission, it can be group submission. I usually do individual submission to keep it simple, but you can definitely explore this. You can give them single attempt or multiple attempts. I let them give multiple attempts. They can submit as many times as they want until the due date. But if you would like to give only single attempt, that's fine. But if you do give them unlimited attempts, don't worry about it. When you start grading it, you will only be able to see the last attempt that they have submitted. So you don't have to worry about previous submission.
Question?
So now, yes.
When it's a group submission, the teacher sees all the assignments. Do the students see each other's assignments?
No, that is not possible. No, they will not be. In discussion board, they can see each other postings.
Right.
But assignment, they won't be able to. No. So now, as I said, that you can check for plagiarism for that written assignment. So if you want to do that, you click on this, check submission for plagiarism using Safe Assign. So Safe Assign is a software that check for plagiarism. So just click on that. So that will let you know if the student has plagiarized, and will also show you from where they have plagiarized. So you can see all the details. And if you want, you can also let the students see their own plagiarism report, Safe Assign report. I do allow that so that students know what they are doing. So they give that, give them a warning so that they can fix it and submit again. I give them that chance. But if you don't want to do that, it's okay. You don't have to submit. You don't have to opt for that. Now, then you can just hit submit, and you can select the due dates, etc. And then you hit submit. Now, the next category of the tools that the Blackboard provides you is academic integrity. I have a separate workshop for that, webinar for that tomorrow, but I'm going to briefly go over what you can do. So one thing you can do is for the written assignments, you can give them assignment which are Turnitin or Safe Assign. So Safe Assign is a software that check for plagiarism, and Turnitin is also another software that you can use for the plagiarism checking. So those two are different softwares, but does the same, almost the same thing. Now, for the exams, you can give them the timed test. So my suggestion is to give them the test at the same time, same day. The reason is because if you let the test open online for about a day, then what happens is that some student who took it earlier during the day will be able to share the test with the student who take it later. Because especially in the face-to-face class, these students, might be knowing each other, so they can like collude, so we, in order to avoid that potential collusion, and they helping each other out in those kind of scenarios, you would want to give the test at the same time, same day, because these students have a dedicated class time. You can give the test at that time. You can like have little bit more flexibility, like open for 3-4 hours if you want, but I would not extend for a very long time. Now, you can also release the feedback only after the due date, so that the student who took it earlier will not be able to share with others. Now, you can also take oral test or oral, Viva Voice kind of test. You can organize that through Blackboard Collaborate. You can also have student recording their presentation and submit. So those options are also there in the Blackboard. So these are the tools that you can use to prevent cheating. Now, Turnitin assignment, as I discussed with you, all you need to do is go to the content and then go to the assessment. As you can see, there is a Turnitin assignment. Click on that. It will walk you through the process to create that assignment that will check for plagiarism. Now, the Safe Assign assignment, I already showed you before. Once you create the assignment, you will see this option, check submission for plagiarism. This is something I already discussed with you when I was talking about the assignment. So you have two options for checking the plagiarism for the papers. Now, how you provide the feedback? Once students submitted their work, how do you provide feedback? You can give them general feedback. Like for example, in the discussion board, I replied, make one posting where I have answers for those questions that I asked. And then you can also provide them individual feedback. You can also use grading rubric and provide comments in there. I use that also. You can leave comments. If the student made a mistake in a paper, you can point that out through drawing and point annotations, and then leave the comments there. I'm going to show you that I took a screenshot. I will be showing that to you later. So now, after the feedback, how to monitor the student progress? You can monitor the student activity. Blackboard, in the Blackboard, you can see if the student has logged in, their last availability, so that you know if they are, on track. You can also create a report that shows how much time student has spent in the Blackboard, and you can also, monitor the gradebook. Gradebook will show you if the student has missed any assignment. You can contact that student about it, uh, and just check with them if they have any issues, if they have any problems in their family. Maybe you want to give extension if you would like. So those things can be used to monitor the student progress, because it is important, an important element of effective teaching. Then student retention tools are also available. You want to make sure that students are logging in on the Blackboard to see if they are active. You can check their usage and how much time they are using, how much time they are logging in, and how much time they are spending on the Blackboard. And if they are missing assignment, you will know that by going to the gradebook. If any student didn't submit the assignment, it will show you blank. So you will know that student missed that work. So once you know there are few students having that problem, not submitting the assignment, not logging in on the Blackboard, if you do notice that, then what are the potential remedies? The potential remedies are the communication tool that I discussed with you. You can email them and ask them what's going on, or you can have like a phone conference, or a video conference through Blackboard Collaborate. You can also use referrals. The college might have referrals. If they're dealing with some kind of situation, you can refer them to the wellness center. I know they are not, might not be available in person, but they might have some kind of through phone. You can extend their deadline if there was some family situation, or the student, if they are sick, you can extend the deadline. That can be done through Blackboard. You can offer them extra credit if you would like, if the student to boost up their grade. So that is something you can do. And that is pretty much. So yeah, so I'm going to show you one thing that I took a screenshot. It's not shown here. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead if you have any question by the time I'm looking for that one.
Question?
Yes.
In the whiteboard section of Collaborate, can you, I don't think you can upload Word documents, but can you copy and paste text from a Word document into the whiteboard?
So just to correct, in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, I think there is a way you can attach the file.
I don't think for Word. I know PowerPoint, there are certain files that will not be accepted. I believe.
Yeah, certain files, you're right. Certain files might not be acceptable, but I think there might be something that can be attachable. But definitely, Pablo will be able to answer that, because that they did that workshop yesterday.
In
But
the
because in
webinar,
Zoom, they allow it. I'm sorry. In Zoom, they allow it. Yeah.
yes, in the webinar that we did yesterday, Jose was showing a workaround for showing different applications, such as a Word document, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, as a way to show students the content. And that it's a workaround specifically for showing spreadsheets, because I think there was a comment that you could not share those. I'm not sure if that entirely addresses your question, but I see Jose on the call. Maybe if he's hearing me, maybe he could jump in with additional clarification. But I will certainly put the link to the webinar we did yesterday, in which he addressed that.
Do you know offhand if you can copy and paste from a Word document? Just copy and paste onto the whiteboard?
I know that you are able to copy and paste text into the whiteboard in addition to regular handwriting with the mouse or with a stylus.
Thank you.
Yes.
So thank you for that. I would like to share the screen with you. I took that from the Blackboard help. So this is not like a real student. This is just like, so just to give you an example. So when you grade the written assignment, that is what you can do. You can mark if something doesn't make sense in the assignment. So this student has submitted their work. Now, you think that this is not clear. So what you can do, you see this pen and this note. So if you click on this, it will, let you, like make a drawing, like this is a star, or you can also have highlighting option, and you can also leave comments. So if you click on this, you can leave comment over there. Hey, you can just write, this need more clarification, something like that. And if you highlight, then you can also leave comment, click on this comment box, and then you will be able to leave comments. So these are individual comment for specific paragraphs, but you can also leave general comment in here. Once you are done grading the assignment, you can also leave general comment here, and then you submit. So that is how you grade the written assignments for the students. Any question on that?
So I see the time is a little bit over.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions for the last minute or so, this is a good time to ask them.
Yes, please. Any other questions?
Also, Neetu, I put your email into the chat so that if anyone wanted to follow up with you if they had a question, since you so generously offered to help people if they need individual assistance. So feel free to do that. And I believe that Pablo will be posting the link to, oh yes, he just did, to yesterday's webinar on Blackboard Collaborate.
Okay, I have just one question. The presentation that you made, which I think was very good, thank you. Is that downloadable as a PDF or PowerPoint, or is that something confidential to yourself?
I'm recording this,
Okay.
so I will make that available. I will send it to Pablo, and they will be able to share to the college.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
While I have Priscilla and Pablo here, can I ask them just one specific question? If you were to compare Zoom with Blackboard Collaborate with respect to deaf students, seeing signing and whiteboard information at the same time, do you think that they are equally successful, or is one better than the other?
I can take
Go ahead, Pablo. You
a
and
crack at
Jose
it.
can probably answer that because you did some testing.
So my personal preference and full disclosure, I have only used Blackboard Collaborate in the past few days, and I have used Zoom for like about 3-4 months already. Specifically now with students with that disability, but I have used Zoom. One of the benefits that I have found with Zoom is that you are able, if a person needs a translator, a sign language translator, interpreter, in Zoom, you are able to display the thumbnail of the person who's doing that at all times. It seems that in Blackboard Collaborate, that didn't seem to be the case, so that can present a challenge. So for instance, right now in my call on Zoom, I'm able to see everyone who's engaged, and if I were to be looking at sign language interpreter, I would be looking at him or her at all time while someone else is speaking. So I think that is an advantage if you use Zoom versus Collaborate. However, if you use Zoom, because we do not have currently an institutional account, you would also have to factor in price. Currently, the free account on Zoom allows you to do a limited a call of up to 100 participants at any given time. And it also gives you the restriction of 40 minutes only. However, we have heard from multiple people informally that Zoom is lifting that restriction on free accounts, meaning that free accounts can schedule meetings for longer than 40 minutes during this crisis. However, I haven't found that particular information on the Zoom website. So to me, there seems to be a lack of clarity on their end. That's my personal take. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you very much.
Any other question?
Okay. I'm assuming the WebEx is a separate online training session.
Correct, and
okay.
we just learned about it. I just heard from a colleague who is taking an online class at John Jay, and the faculty used WebEx yesterday, and it seemed to work fairly well.
Okay.
We're looking into getting our hands on it as soon as possible so that we can do some quick training and then develop these kinds of trainings moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that a professor in Florida, one of the Florida universities, they were able to have 3-hour-long lecture on that. WebEx, Cisco, I think through Cisco, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so
correct.
that was pretty good. 3 hours long lecture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although that sounds really long.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people
Oh.
who have like 3-hour classes like once a week. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the other hand, one benefit to Blackboard Collaborate, and you will see the webinar that we did yesterday that Jose run for a little longer than an hour, and it was broadcasted to over 130 people at the same time. So we didn't have a limit on the number of people. So that is a benefit, right?
That's
There's
true.
always
That's the benefit of Collaborate.
there's
Zoom,
positives
yeah.
and negatives always, right? You can open it to guests, so anyone can join in at any given time. But also there's a limitation. And a quick plugin in my email last night, I also included additional training dates that colleagues in CUNY SPS are organizing, also through Blackboard Collaborate on Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. That's on the email that I sent last night. So please take a look at them if you are interested in learning more about that. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Pablo.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Neetu.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Neetu. Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
was
And please
fantastic.
feel free to ask any question. And I really appreciate CTL for having that confidence. And all of you giving your time and listening to me. I really appreciate it. I hope I was able to help a little. Thank you.
We're
Here's
great,
the
Neetu.
sign.
Thank you.
Yay, deaf
Thank you.
clap.
Bye.
Deaf clap.
Thank you. Be well, everyone. Okay.
Bye.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Take
Bye.
care. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.